Hello my friends, I am Mr. 23 and today we will create together the Soul Drainer artwork. Everything it will be at normal speed. I will speed up just the boring parts with the selections and some other parts that you'll need to try for yourself to see if you learn something from this video. As usual, if you'll find any value in my tutorial, please feel free to subscribe to this channel. Let's get started. First we start by using this picture with those rocks. Then I'm going to arrange it a bit, so press Ctrl and T to make it a bit bigger and move it all the way down. I think this is okay. We are going to move it later if we need to. Then this is the second picture with the sky. Right click on the image and flip it horizontally because I want this really bright area on the left side, and drag the top part to make it bigger. Then let's add a mask. Click on the mask, take the brush tool, and I'm going to use the soft round brush, and with the black color selected I'm going to paint on the bottom area to hide that area of the water. Alright, let's go back again to the rocks layer, press Ctrl T and hold shift and drag the bottom area a bit to the top, something like that, and then right click again on the screen and flip it horizontally and double click on the image, and that's it. Now I'm going to match the colors of the sky with the colors of the rocks as I showed you in my latest tutorial, the ones with the tips and tricks. I'm going to use curves, and here on the curves be sure that the thumbnail of the curves is selected, not the mask, and clip it inside by holding Alt and click between the layers. And now hold Alt and click on the auto button, and now click on the find dark light colors, click on this shadows icon, and let's find the darkest color from the rocks. I think this one. Hit OK. Now click again on the highlights and let's choose another color, but I think I need it a bit brighter, so something like that, and hit OK. Then hit OK again, don't save it. And now here on the curves adjustments I'm going to decrease a bit the black values, drag this curve a bit to the bottom and increase the highlights for a bit. Now select everything that we have done so far by holding shift and select all those layers and click on the group icon, and we are going to rename this one background. Now a thing that I want to do, go again to the layer with the rocks, press Ctrl T again and right click and choose perspective, and by holding shift drag the right corner, the bottom right corner a bit to the right, and then drag everything a bit to the bottom. Go on top of everything and let's darken up everything by using levels. So choose levels. Alright, I think this is enough for the moment. And now is the time to blend the top area with the bottom area in the middle, so we can hide the parts that we don't want to be seen. So create a new layer and take a cloud brush, a mist brush. You can download them a lot from the DeviantArt website. Just search mist or clouds brushes. Then I'm going to sample by holding Alt a color from the sky, for example this dark color, and I'm going to paint in the middle of the screen. Now on top of everything let's add a selective color, so create a selective color and choose color for the blending mode, and let's play a bit with the colors. I'm going to add a bit of darkness here on the bottom area because this is closest to us and it should be darker than the rest of the image. So create a new levels adjustment layer, decrease this slider, then on the mask press Ctrl and I, take the soft round brush, and with this one and the white color here on the bottom area I'm going to paint and make this part a bit darker. Alright, now it's the time to add the character. So for that I'm going to create a new group and I'm going to rename it to the Dark Lord. So this is the picture that I have from DeviantArt. It's from Eileen stock, and I'm going to use the pen tool and start to select everything. After we selected him, I'm going to drag it into my new document. First I want to move a bit the background to the bottom area, the rocks layer, so let's move it a bit down and let's move him a bit to the left. that's just optional. You can you know, play with this part as long as you want. Then I'm going to right click and convert him to a smart object, and now double click, and now I'm going to hide some parts that I don't want. So on the mask part, take again the brush tool, but this time the solid round brush, and move the flow to 100%. Now with the black color selected, I'm going to paint here on this hood part because I don't really like it that much, that part the way it was. Alright, and now I'm going to remove this stick. Now I want to hide all the area of the remaining stick, so for that I'm going to create a new layer and clip it inside by clicking between the layers, hold Alt and click between the layers, and I'm going to take the clone stamp tool and I'm going to hide areas from the stick, and by that hold Alt, click outside the area that you want to hide, and then just use the brush and paint. This will take some time, but I want to hide that stick because I don't really like it. Here for the bottom area I'm going to use another method, so select again the first layer, and with the rectangle marquee tool I'm going to select this area, and with Alt, hold Alt, I'm going to deselect some parts. Alright, and then right click and choose content aware fill, and then hit OK. That was much faster. Now we need to clip it inside the layer, so hold Alt and click between the layers, and I'm going to go to the top layer, continuing with the clone stamp tool. And at the end I'm going to create a new layer, and now I'm going to manually paint some parts that weren't selected that well with the soft round brush. I think it looks okay. We can save it now, and press Ctrl S to save it, and let's go back to our document. Alright, now we need to match his colors with the rest of the background. So create a new curves adjustment layer, place it inside the Dark Lord layer, so hold Alt, click between the layers, click on the thumbnail, hold Alt, click on the auto, and now click on find dark light colors, click on the shadows, let's choose this dark one from here. Then on the highlights I'm going to select a bit brighter one, something like that, hit OK, again OK, click no, and now let's play a bit more with the black and white values. Now I'm going to create a new levels adjustment layer, clip it inside, hold Alt, click between the layers, darken up everything by dragging the slider, something like that, then invert the mask by pressing Ctrl and I, take the brush tool, make it a bit bigger, and now with the white color selected and a really low flow, I'm going to paint on the bottom area because this area should be a bit darker. Now let's add some shadows underneath his feet and the cloak. So go and create a new layer, hold Ctrl to create it underneath the layer with the Dark Lord, and then choose multiply as the blending mode, and now take the brush tool again and right click on the screen, drag the top point to the bottom to create an oval, and now let's go back, select a dark color from the background, let's zoom in, and I'm going to start to paint around to add some shadows around his feet and behind him. Now let's move on by changing the shirt color into a dark color. Now I'm going to select this area, so click on the layer, choose W, and here the magic wand tool to go a bit faster. So select an area, hold shift and click again on the screen to select more parts from this shirt. Then click on the lasso tool and again hold shift this time and add to the selection the parts that weren't selected. Alright, now let's go back on top and choose hue and saturation. Here clip it inside by holding Alt and click between the layers, and let's choose the blending mode multiply. So let's decrease the lights and change a bit the hue. I think I like this color, but if you look on the margins of this selection, it doesn't really look that well. So go on the mask of the hue and saturation, go to filter, choose blur, and here let's choose blur more. and let's do it again. And then on the same mask, take the brush tool, and this time the normal soft round brush. Then with the white color selected, I'm going inside the shirt and I'm going to paint on the margins so we can hide those areas even better. I think it looks okay. Let's decrease even more the lightness and the saturation a bit. Now if we look at our character, we will see that the margins are too straight, are too correct, because we use the pen tool. So for that we need to apply a bit of blur on the sides of our character. So for that, double click on the layer, and here on the thumbnail of the layer I'm going to add a bit of feather, 0.6, I think it's okay, and let's save it, Ctrl and S to save it, and let's go back to our document, and now it looks much better. Now we need to emphasize a bit the shadows of our character, and for that I use dodge and burn. So I'm going to create a new layer, so go to layer, new layer, and here choose soft light and fill it with 50% gray, and hold Alt and click between the layers. Now with the black color and the brush, I'm going to paint on the areas where we want the shadows to be more visible. Now let's hide this group and let's go back to the background layer. I'm going to create a new layer from everything, a new screenshot. So press Ctrl Alt Shift and I, and what this does is creating a screenshot from everything that we have on the screen. And now let's choose the blending mode, color dodge. Alright, on this layer we can add a mask. So add a mask, and with the brush tool and the black color selected, we can paint on some areas that we want to be as the way they were. On his right arm, I'm going to add a trident. So we have this one. I'm going to take the pen tool and I'm going to select it from his background. Then press Ctrl and Enter, hit the mask tool, then let's take it into our document, let's move it to the top, rotate it, press Ctrl and T and rotate it, something like that. Let's make it a bit smaller. Alright, I think this is enough. And now for the trident handle, I'm going to select a part of those pictures that I have also from DeviantArt, from Fantasy Stock, from Dumoki, I think it's pronounced. Press Ctrl and Enter, add a mask. Now let's drag this one into our document. Alright, and now let's play a bit with it. First of all, let's apply the mask. So right click, apply the layer mask. Now I'm going to play around with it to make it bigger and to match the rest of our trident. So after we finished with this part with the trident, I'm going to add a mask and select the area that we need to delete, so it looks like he's holding that trident in his hand. So add a mask, decrease a bit the opacity so we can see, take the brush tool, the hard round brush, the flow should be 100%, make the brush smaller, and now with the black color I'm going to paint, and if you look you'll see that that area will be gone. Alright, let's bring back the opacity, and now it looks like he is holding that trident in his hand, and we need to darken up the colors so it matches the other colors of the rest of the image. So one fast way is to copy the curves adjustment layer that we had on our character. So hold Alt on this curve adjustment layer and drag it all the way to the top, and we copy it to the top. Now hold Alt again and click between the layers, and we move it inside our trident layer. Let's rename this one Trident. Alright, and now I'm going to do the same dodge and burn so we can make it a bit darker. Alright, and we need to work a bit on the shadow because we added an element and it needs a shadow. So go on the shadow layer, let's rename this one Shadow, and with the brush tool let's sample another color and decrease the size. I'm going to paint around. I think we need more shadows here. We need to darken up this bottom area a bit more. So create a new levels adjustment layer, drag this white slider to the left, and then Ctrl and I on the mask. With the brush tool and the white color, I'm going to paint to darken up that area. Now let's take care of his eyes, so let's create a new adjustment layer which will be solid color, and here going to choose this color and then Ctrl and I on the mask to invert it and choose color dodge as the blending mode. And now with the brush tool I'm going to paint a bit on the eyes area with the white color. Alright, and then again a new one, a solid color, and let's take the red color, hit OK and change the blending mode to linear dodge. Again invert the mask, double click on the layer to add a blend if, hold Alt, drag the right slider to the right around 80% and a bit the left slider around 5, and then hit OK, go on the mask. With the white color and the brush I'm going to paint on the eyes again. Alright, you can spend more time to make those eyes even better, so for this moment I think it looks okay. I'm going to darken up the shirt even more because I want to draw some magic over there. So for that let's go back to the hue and saturation and darken up the lightness, something like that. And now let's create the magic. Create a new group, let's call it magic. I have a full tutorial, a few actually tutorials on my channel on how to create this magic that I have learned from Max Sabin, and you can check out those if you want to see it step by step, because now I'm going to go a bit faster. This magic that we created, this magic group, I'm going to set the blending mode to screen, and inside it I'm going to create a new layer and fill it with black. If you have the black on top, the black color, you can hold Alt and press delete. It will fill that layer with the color that it's on top. Then let's create a new layer which it will be our magic, and then on top let's create a gradient map, and here I'm going to select first black, the last one white, and here around 25 I'm going to select the red color, something like that. Then on the 50% I'm going to select an orange color, and then here on the 75 I'm going to select a really bright yellow color, and that's it. Now, as I said, I'm not going to explain a lot because this is really random. Every time I started this magic, this drawing of the heart part, it gave me another result. So what you need to know is this: you first need the brush tool and the white color. So you draw the shape, and if you want to modify some parts, you will switch to the smudge tool. You'll see me using the smudge tool a lot, and I can dimension the shape or drag it or whatever I want to do from this shape. And then with the eraser tool, I'm going to erase some parts that I don't want to be seen, and so on. So just enjoy and let's see what I'm going to draw. So because we have this magic, we need to create some highlights that will reflect on the clothing. Let's go back to our character, and I'm going to create a new exposure adjustment layer, increase the exposure something like that, around 4%. Then hold alt and click between the layers to add it inside the layer with the Dark Lord, and then double click on the layer and hold alt, drag the slider to the right around 100 and the left one a bit, click OK, and now let's invert the mask. Alright, and now with the brush tool and the white color selected on the mask of the exposure, I'm going to paint alright, and we need to do the same thing on the Trident. And now let's take care of the colors of the magic that should reflect on our character. Alright, so first let's go back to the Dark Lord and create a new layer, and we are going to choose the mode linear dodge, fill it with black, hit OK, clip it inside, hold alt, click between the layers, and now let's see, double click, hold alt and drag the slider until 100, the left one to 3, click OK. Now let's take an orange color and let's paint a bit on the sides. And then on the Trident also I'm going to add the same, because for sure that magic will reflect a bit on the Trident also. Now let's go back to the Dark Lord and add another one, another linear dodge. So go layer, new layer, add a linear dodge, fill it with black, add it inside by holding alt and click between the layers, and this time we are not going to apply the blend diff. So let's go back and now let's paint again on top of the other rim lights. Now we need some highlights behind the character. So let's go back, let's go down all the way underneath the shadow, create a new layer, and let's change the blending mode to color dodge. And now let's take the brush tool, change the size of the brush, and let's sample a color from the sky, I think this one, and now I'm going to paint behind the character. Then I'm going to take the eraser tool and erase some parts that I think they are too much. Then on top of everything, I'm going to create a new layer, and I'm going to take the same cloudy brush and I'm going to paint on top of everything that we have made so far to hide some areas. And one thing that I forgot is to add some red eyes here to the skull. So I'm going to use the same layers that we created for the eyes of the Dark Lord, and I'm going to drag those two layers on top of the Trident to affect the Trident also, because now they were underneath. Now we need to apply the camera raw filter, so go on top of everything and press Ctrl Shift and I. Then right click, convert it to a smart object, and then go to filter, and here let's choose camera raw filter. After that, let's go to filter, and here let's choose blur gallery and tilt shift blur. If you have this problem like I do now, where we don't have the pins on the screen, let's go to view and show and then edit pins. Sometimes Photoshop hides those things and I don't know why, but this is how you bring them back. So let's drag this one to the top a bit, and here on the bottom something like that, and decrease a bit the blur to around 5, and then hit OK. I'm going to apply a high pass filter, so press again Ctrl Shift and I, go to filter, other, high pass, and here let's choose a 0.4, hit OK, and then change the blending mode to linear light, and this adds more sharpening to the image. Let's zoom in to see the differences. So this is without the high pass, this is with the high pass. It adds some noise on the image. I'm going to add some brightness. I'm going to decrease the brightness on the bottom area, so decrease the brightness and increase a bit the contrast, and I'm going to invert this layer, and with the brush tool, the soft brush, I'm going to make it bigger, and I'm going to paint on the bottom area with a white color. As you know, if you want to have your work featured in my videos, use the tag Mr23 Review anytime you post your art on Instagram. Now we are going to take a fast look. Now let's take a quick look at the posts that use my hashtag, and I'm going to choose the featured artist of this week. So this week featured artist is Steamlight with this perfect edit. I really love everything on this design, so if you look at the before and after, I really love the final result. So don't forget to give him a follow on Instagram. You will see a lot of really incredible artworks, and if I read the description of his account, he started on August 3, 2021. I'm laughing because I started like 20 years ago, and after 5 months I think I was able to draw some lines, and that was it back in 2000. Anyway, I think Steamlight will have a great future ahead of him. The start is just amazing, and best of luck in your future artworks. So don't forget, if you want to have your work featured in my videos, please use the tag Mr23 Review. You can spend more time in upgrading this design, add your own ideas, but I guess for a 30 minutes video that is a really good start for you to understand everything that I did in this tutorial. And if you learned something new today, please let me know in the comments. I will be really happy if you would.